Justin the Tacky and mackdaddy, son of Satan, quasi Zionist Trudeau, has come out with his budget. This is the final budget before the next federal election. And it is filled with a bunch of different items and goodies, which I believe, and it's not a belief, it's a fact, it's going to be used not only to divert attention away from SNC-Lavalin, the scandal engulfing the Canadian government right now, where a large company, probably one of the largest companies in the world, literally is being protected by our government after it has been caught breaking the law, pimping, fraud, bribery, all this sort of thing. And the mackdaddy's government is protecting that company because that company gives a lot of money to the mackdaddy and his party. That's why I call it Canada's toilet. And the mackdaddy is the cat that is drinking out of this disgusting toilet. And if any of us were to commit a crime, we'd all be locked up. But these rich companies, it's no problem whatsoever. So now he's had a budget, but the second the second thing that this budget is designed for is to buy voters. So they're gonna come out with different things, whether it's pharmacare, whether it's this, money for that. I mean, this is one of the budgets, the first budget. I mean, the mackdaddy has been prime minister for 4 years now. This is the first budget which is supposedly geared towards Canadians, and this is just something to buy votes. And my message to Canadians is this, and you need to listen to me, because you Canadians are some of the hardest-headed, you Canucks are the hardest-headed, tacky-headed people on the planet. I mean, you can talk till you are blue in the face, and you all are just determined to dig yourself and this country in a hole, but hopefully, more and more Canadians are beginning to realize what the Arana Nation has been saying all along, and many people are waking up. And it's not just a left issue, it's a right issue as well. You got a bunch of hard-headed, tacky-headed Canadians out there, Canucks, I call them Canucks, who just don't want to listen though. But I'm here to say that you need to make a commitment. And this is a commitment for your country, for your children, for your grandchildren, for the future of Canada. And that is that you should make the commitment that you would rather die, and I mean die, literally drop dead, whether it's death of hunger, sickness or disease, stress, heart attack, you would rather die than vote for this mackdaddy again. Now, let me give you some of the highlights in this budget. Many of this stuff is actually quite dangerous as well. One of the things in this budget, and I just saw it here, but I, for some reason, missed it. It's about phasing out coal. Now, I've spoken about this environmental issue and coal and all this stuff. The federal government is proposing to take the first steps towards a just transition plan for workers in the coal industry that will be out of work under the government's commitment to phase out coal power plants in 2030. This whole thing about phasing out coal and phasing out fossil fuels, that is the stupidest thing anybody could ever do. And I've said this before. First of all, let me talk about carbon tax. The reason why carbon tax is one of the stupidest things in the world, and they probably know this, it's just a bunch of crooks who want more of your money. These businesses, these fossil fuel businesses, Suncor, Petro-Canada, Texaco, BP, all of these people, they do not have to pay anything. They will not put up. If they feel that Canada has become a country where business is too expensive, they will leave. They will leave you Canucks flat out on the pavement, no job, probably don't even have shoe shining job. There was a report just recently which said that Calgary is the second most city with the most unemployment. So you Calgarians and you Albertans out there who are laying up in the street, no job, nothing, you probably want to commit suicide or whatever. The thing is, and I'm specifically talking to the Albertans who voted for the mackdaddy. I mean, they got 4 seats in Alberta. They usually don't get any. So, I mean, even Alberta is not immune to being pimped out by the mackdaddy. You all are digging yourselves in a grave which you will not be able to come out of if you vote for the mackdaddy, Justin the tacky mackdaddy, son of Satan, quasi Zionist Trudeau. You will not get out of this. And you all are being unemployed. You all have no jobs. These businesses will not stay in Canada and employ you if there is a carbon tax here. And they will leave, and they've already left. They go into America, they go to China, and not only that, not only do they leave, but they go to countries where they spew even more carbon into the atmosphere than they did in Canada. So a carbon tax and phasing out coal is actually more bad for the environment. And I'm an environmentalist. I am. Yes, yay and amen. I believe in climate change. I don't believe in conning the people and macking the people, changing the name when it doesn't suit me, global warming, global cooling. Just say that the environment is affected when we make certain decisions. And what we need to do is get these companies to plant more trees, make them have a commitment that you won't spew this much carbon into the atmosphere. If you do, we're going to lock you up. We won't tax you, but we're trusting you. And you plant a tree every month or every 2 months, every year, whatever. And if you chop a tree down, you replant it. But don't phase out coal and carbon taxes. Those coal companies, they'll go to West Virginia. They'll go other places, and they will destroy the environment even more because many of these countries are very lackadaisical when it comes to the environment. So that's my take on this. For now, the government's plan would offer $150 million over 4 years for an infrastructure fund to be spent in Western and Atlantic Canada, with most of the money going to the West, which has a larger number of coal industry jobs. Housing and medication. This is just some of the ways he's trying to buy votes. The government is proposing new measures to help households buy homes and pay for medication through a new incentive that offers support for first-time home buyers and an increase in the maximum withdrawal allowed for a home buyer's RRSP for a down payment from $25,000 to $35,000. A proposed farmer care system. The government is proposing to introduce modest funding of $35 million over 4 years to create a new drug agency to make drugs more affordable, as well as a $1 billion investment over 2 years to help Canadians with rare diseases get access to new drugs. And then Canadian journalism. This is just some highlights. To improve Canada's democracy, the government has established some new criteria for its proposed support of Canadian journalism. This includes establishing rules to define who would qualify as a journalist for the purposes of issuing a 25% refundable tax credit to media outlets for employees. The maximum tax credit for each eligible employee would be $13,750. So now he's trying to get the media in his pocket now. They're already in his pocket, but because of this SNC-Lavalin scandal, some of them are turning on him, and so he needs them back. So even they are not immune from this. Is the pimping again. You know, the mackdaddy goes in cycles. 2015, he was grooming you Canucks. He was grooming you. Just like now, he's trying to groom you again. He groomed you, and you fell for it. And then just like pimps, when they're done grooming you, they slap you up, beat you, punch you, kick you, rape you. That's what he did to you, Canucks. That's what he did. And now when he's faced with another choice, the Canadians are allowed another choice again, whether they're going to re-elect him or not, he's back to the grooming. So y'all are being groomed again. So he's loving you, brushing your hair, sending you to the mall, buying you shoes, buying you purses, taking you to expensive restaurants, the Mandarin, Golden Corral, all these places. I mean, he's grooming you Canucks again. So that's what's happening. Immigration. The government plans to invest more than $1 billion over 5 years to tackle increasing pressure on Canada's borders as thousands of asylum seekers cross the border to flee Trump to seek protection in the north. So this is what this budget is. A bunch of different things for a bunch of different people. Pharmacare, healthcare, infrastructure, helping people get houses, this and that. So he is now grooming the Canucks again. And I'm here to say to you Canucks, and I'm prepared to do this. Let me tell you, I'm not a rich person. I present myself as a sophisticate, yes, but I am not a rich person. And, I've just finished my post-secondary studies. I am job searching now. I'm in the field. I'm sending out resumes and stuff. In the meantime, it is tough financially for me. And I'm just speaking experience. So this budget, it's designed for people like me and probably people like you too. But no rich people don't like Arana Nation. Rich people don't like Arana. It's working class people, middle income people, a little bit on the poor side. Young people love the Arana Nation. They are my base. University, college people with debt and all this stuff. So this budget is for all of us. But I'm here to tell you this. Even though I don't have any health insurance, and even though I pay a lot of money for diabetic medicine, hypertensive medicine, I'm going to tell you this. I would rather die. I would rather drop dead, get going to diabetic shock, get a heart attack, get a stroke, be kicked out of my house because I can't pay rent and sleep on the street and die of hunger. I would rather be dead than vote for this mackdaddy again. He will not buy me. I would rather be dead. I would rather drop dead right now here where I stand, be eaten by the worms, and nobody hears from me again than ever even think about voting for this mackdaddy. I'll tell you why. I am not easily groomed. You can't groom me. And I've seen what's happened over the past 4 years. I have seen how billions of our tax dollars have gone to other countries, Indonesia, African nations, Middle Eastern nations. I have seen $10 million go to Omar Carter, who killed 2 soldiers. I've seen all of it. I've heard of natives who have died because their reserves have poisonous water. I've seen it. I've seen our veterans be told that they ask for too much, so they're not getting any assistance from the government after they risk their life to keep this country safe. I have seen it, and it's not going to change because the mackdad Justin Trudeau is the son of Satan. He is the son of Satan. He is in the pocket of banksters, central banksters. He is a quasi-Zionist. He's a mackdaddy, and he's trying to groom us now because we have a choice to get rid of him. I will not be groomed by the pimp, by the Montreal Slim pimp. A pimp comes to me, and I'm in need of food and water, and I'm hungry, and I need shelter from the storm, from the ice storm, and the pimp comes to me and says, hey, you can stay here. You can stay in my bed. You can eat at the nicest restaurants in Toronto. I will not take it. I will not take from the pimp. I will not eat from the devil's hand. Just like Jesus was tempted by the devil himself in the desert. He was tempted. And Jesus said no, and I would rather be dead. And he was crucified, and Jesus ended up getting crucified. And he could have saved himself. And the devil gave him every opportunity. He said, I'd rather be nailed to a cross and whooped and scourged and put thorns on my head than submit to the devil's temptation. So you Canucks out there from Nova Scotia all the way to BC and Quebec and Ontario and the West, you listen to what I have to say. Do not get groomed again. Do not get groomed. The pimp is grooming you. I would rather be dead. And you all out there in the West and in the East, Ontario, Quebec, you all make this commitment now that you would rather drop dead, die. Death is better. Death is more pleasurable than having this mackdaddy in the Prime Minister's office for another second. Hunger is more enjoyable than the mackdaddy. Disease is more pleasurable than the mackdaddy. Starvation is more pleasurable than the mackdaddy. A lack of drinking water is more pleasurable. Dying of what disease you have because you don't have your medication is more pleasurable. I'd rather be dead. This is the Arana Nation.